That's pretty exciting.
Beautiful. Okay. Good night. Corey, are we good? All right. Okay, the time is 6 o'clock, and that begins the October 8th Granite Falls School Board meeting. Please rise. Join me at the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will hand it over to our superintendent, or Dr. Eastland, for our land acknowledgement.
Okay, thanks. We honor the First Peoples of these lands by acknowledging that the area in which we gather is within the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians. The Stillaguamish people have inhabited these lands and waters since time immemorial. Their descendants have remained in this territory to this day. The Stillaguamish people have continued to practice the traditional ways of their ancestors of fishing, hunting, and gathering. The Stillaguamish tribe has had these lands and cultural traditions passed on to them by their ancestors, who believe that everything has a spirit and that they are the caretakers of these lands and waters.
Thank you. And then tonight in attendance, we have Director Gochner, Director Dane, Director Kincaid, Director Carey, myself, Director Ledoux, Superintendent Geisland. We also have the privilege of welcoming our student reps here that are sitting with us today, Elijah Seiler, Thomas Hancock, and Serenity Ross. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, moving on to item 2A, board comments. And so I'm going to start with the board. I'm not going to try to put you guys on the spot, but then I will wrap around to you if you have any comments as well, so you can feel free to think. Director Gochner, any comments?
I just want to apologize for not being here for the last couple of months. I've had a couple of big family emergencies that have taken me away. So you should be seeing more of me now.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Dan?
I want to just, acknowledge the event in town this last Saturday, and what an amazing turnout. It's probably the biggest show of folks coming into town, and it seemed to last a long time. I think last year or the years prior, we were shutting things down about 3 p.m. and it was still going at 5.
Yeah.
And just an amazing time. And then at our home football games, I am impressed with the number of people that we have coming out supporting our sports. It's just a good time to be in Granite Falls.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Director Kincaid?
I just want to reiterate that Railroad Days was awesome. It was a great turnout. It was a lot of fun. My kids had a blast. One thing I wanted to say, and I'm sure Dana's going to cover a lot of the community stuff in her report later, but Mercedes, she posted today on the community page, and I wanted to share it because I thought that this was awesome. There's an event that's going to be happening October 14th through November 25th on Tuesdays from 5:30 to 8. It's going to be at Monte Cristo Elementary School. And it is, it looks like, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, the Strengthening Families Program. Okay. And it is a program that you can go with your kiddos from ages 10 to 14, it looks like, and just kind of bond together, play games together, learn about each other, find methods on how to reduce conflict. It says learn and listen and be heard, talking about peer pressure and parenting strategies and stuff you can do together. And I know being a mom of a kiddo in that age range, there's a lot of emotions and things going on. And this is a really cool way to just kind of bond with your kids and have some fun and get to know each other and how to communicate with each other. So, so check that out. Mercedes, can I ask you who to contact to register?
There is a Google registration on the thing there.
Okay.
Also, Jared Pierce.
Oh, I see that at the bottom there. Jared Pierce. Hold on.
At my VOAWW.
Yeah. J Pierce at voaww.org to register. So. Okay.
And free dinner.
And childcare and free dinner. So can't beat that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Director Carey?
Yeah, not to sound like a broken record, but love Railroad Days. It's kind of like going to a family reunion. You always see like 90 people from town. You're like, I haven't seen you in forever. Like, where have you been? And stuff. And I heard that Dana did a wonderful job at the alumni breakfast. I had an old Granite Falls alumni who lives up the street from me said, that that Kim, Susie, that the lady who runs the school. I go, Dana, like, that's her. She did good. And I was like, I'll make sure I'll let her know. So Dana, you did a very good job. I also just want to thank the student reps for being here. Elijah, Thomas, Serenity, coolest name ever. The thing I love about the student reps is it really kind of keeps our focus on what we're all here to do, which is to provide the best educational environment for you wonderful people that we possibly can. And I think in order to do that, we have to hear what you guys think and what your thoughts are, what works and what doesn't work. So I say this every time we get a new student rep, like I encourage you to like be bold, right? And be passionate about the things that you're passionate about. And if there's anything I could do to support and mentor, or if you want to be like, hey, I don't understand how this board thing works, like I'm very available. There's a lot of resources that Dr. Giesling can hook you up with like mentorship or with other student reps with school boards and from other school boards around our state and stuff like that. But anything I can do, and I'm not just saying that, anything I can do to support you, let me know, because your success is our success. So that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we've covered railroad days. It was great. But yeah, I mean, aside from, yes, our student reps that are sitting here as well, we went through the oath of office with quite a few, I think 8 or 9 or something like that last time. And then we also have others that will be taking their oath of office tonight here shortly. So again, thank you very much. To reiterate what Director Carey was saying, we've always had student reps on the board, or at least since I've been on, but this has definitely been a great change that we've made to have so much more representation than just one from the high school and one from Crossroads. Having diversity in that voice is very important, having the opportunity to speak up. So we really appreciate all of you stepping forward and volunteering this time and effort. And again, we want to learn a lot from you, and hopefully you can learn stuff from us as well. So consider, I'll reiterate what Director Carey said, is feel free to reach out to us, talk to me after any of the board meetings, email me, and anything along those lines. Happy to help out. I think that's probably it from my side. So now I will pass it over. If you have anything, again, I know this is the first time and you're probably caught off guard, but Elijah, any comments that you would want to make?
Well, nothing this meeting.
Yeah.
Aside from Railroad Days being a huge success for the beekeeping club.
Oh, yeah.
We sold a lot of honey that day.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Other than that, nothing much.
Okay. No.
Elijah, could you tell us a little bit about the float that Crossroads had in the parade? I know you were really involved with that.
Well, we did a Jurassic Park-ish.
It was a good one.
It was great. The students involved really did a really good job. I unfortunately missed like that week that we were really working on it. But, shout out to those kids that really, really pushed the bar on the float.
That was great.
And the honey is still for sale also.
Yeah.
It's honey that literally the bees make right out back. So it's amazing.
We sell it on, I think, Fridays at the farmer's market.
Great. Thank you. Thomas.
I'm just happy to connect names to faces finally. So I'm glad to see you all coming out. I'm glad to see you all here. Railroad Days was great. The band performed and we did pretty good, I'd say. I really enjoyed playing at City Hall, even though I got the part when I got there, but that's okay. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
And if anybody needs any reading recommendations, Thomas is your man. He reads like 17 books a week. Wow. And then Serenity, anything from you?
Not really, except for Railroad Days,
Mhm.
because I was in the parade also.
Which portion were you in?
Cheerleading.
Cheer. That was one of the largest sections I feel like we saw come through as well.
We're in the truck, though.
Okay.
That's the best
I
one.
know.
That's the best seat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, really appreciate you all coming out again. So, okay, so we will move on to then welcoming others officially to their positions as student advisors and representatives to be the oath of office.
Sounds great. So as we said, we swore in a lot of students. The last school board meeting, we have a few more tonight. We are passionate about student voice in the Granite Falls School District, and we will continue to provide opportunities for students to be heard and to the point of the directors, tell us what's working and what's not, and all of those things. They also keep us grounded, and it's the best part of our day when we get to be with students. Most of us got into this business because we care deeply about kids and families, and so I was just looking forward to our students, no offense to the board, but I was looking forward to our students being here tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'm meeting with all of the student reps to the board that are at Granite Falls High School. Next week, it'll be a meeting with middle school and Crossroads, but there's some onboarding to all of this and some leadership things. And our students are also going to be doing a candidate forum, a school board candidate forum on October 28th. They did one back in June. They helped craft the questions and they ran the whole thing. And it was such an opportunity for our students to engage in, in civic leadership and those kind of things. So good to be here with all of them. If you are a student rep that's in the audience, you'll come on up and we're going to do the oath of office. These can stand like semicircle right over there if you'd like. And
Facing them or facing?
Yeah, you'll go kind of in front of, oh, perfect. That's,
Yeah, looks good on camera.
yeah, no, wait. Great, thank you. Grab the agenda and not those ones. Okay, you guys ready? I state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of
and
Washington,
the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of student representative
the duties of student representative
to the Board of Directors
to the Board of Directors
of the Granite Falls School District,
to Granite Falls School District,
number 332,
number 332,
according to the law,
according to the law,
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my abilities.
All right, let's give them a hand. We would love to take a picture with all the student reps, because the state will put you kind of in the front because you're most important. Absolutely most important. And we'll put the board kind of behind you all.
I'll squeeze behind you.
Avery, did they do a good job?
Yeah.
I gotta get someone that I'm taller than.
Right, there you go. All right.
That's perfect. Guys ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Couple of them. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Nicely done. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. No, it's really okay.
There's one.
Complete chaos.
Wait.
And they're low behind.
Wow. I haven't been called that in a while.
Oh, no, sorry. That's okay. It works. Okay, thank you. And actually, I will also just, one of the things I absolutely love about a district like Granite Falls as well too, is the accessibility of a superintendent like Dr. Giesland. Anybody that's seen larger districts, where there's 20, 30, 40,000 students across, like, the superintendent may as well be the president of the United States, right? Having the ability to go and actually interact and understand how the school works and everything. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever heard, especially as you're learning and you're developing new things, is if you can go and work for somebody that just has all the experience, all the power, and you could do it for free, like, go learn, because that's going to be the most beneficial to you. And you have the ability to, especially on the student rep boards, to talk to somebody who has, how long have you been in education?
A minute, yep.
a minute. So yeah, she's being modest. But yeah, having that ability and that accessibility is huge. And I just can't overstate that. You'll look back at this, if you move to New York City and have your kids in a school district, and you'll be like, I should just go talk to the superintendent. And they'll be like, good luck. Like, it'd be very difficult. So I just want to reiterate that this is a huge opportunity. Okay. Number 3A in district reports, superintendent report presented by Dr. Dana Giesland.
Awesome, thank you. Just gonna pull that up for us. Perfect. So just a few quick updates for the board. So safety, security, and some maintenance updates. We talked about this at our last meeting, that we're reviewing kind of our camera usage district-wide and where there's spots that we maybe don't have enough camera coverage. We put in 2 new cameras this week. One's at Crossroads in the back, just for some viewing where preschool goes outside and some things there. And another one at transportation. As we talked about before, we had some security issues at transportation, and we want just a little better coverage there. And then also the board is considering some safety and security upgrades with our upcoming M&O levy that will be in February. Building security, again, working really hard on those nightly door checks at all the schools and making sure doors aren't propped and shut and latched. And if there's latching issues, then we need to, do whatever maintenance upgrades and things so that they are latched. Sometimes inappropriate access after hours happens just because the door is not shut. And we want to, obviously secure that, and clear guidance to staff and what after hours access means. A quick facilities update. So we had pretty major septic issue at Granite Falls High School last week. I was meeting with Dave and we heard of the issue. And if you were at Granite Falls High School, you definitely smelled the issue. And my hat is off to our maintenance team who was on it. I went down there and I was like, wow, this is significant. So we had a backup. It was plugged from some reasons from the culinary classroom and some things that basically plugged the take. So after a lot of work by our maintenance team and some help from Roto-Rooter and some others, that has been cleared out. I was able to be out there today. Ryan and I were able to see and hear water flowing. And so that was a good sound. All the things you do in a superintendency that you don't think you'll do, right? And our maintenance team was like, Dana, come here, come listen to this. And I'm like, that is music to our ears because that means water is coming in and water is coming out. So those 4 classrooms will have water again. It's important. It's biology. It's culinary. It's all of these things, ag room, right? So thank you to those teachers for their patience over the last 4 days because they had to sometimes change and go teach in the commons. They had to take, equipment and go teach in another classroom. So that is all fixed. Thank you to administration too for navigating that. I thought the smell was horrendous. Dave acted like it was nothing. My head is off to y'all. Snohomish County, let me go. There we go. Health Department. We talked about this at our last meeting. So at 4 of our 5 schools, the Snohomish County Health Department is coming in and doing their biannual inspections. Monte Cristo and Crossroads have both had that happen already, and they've given us their report. Mountain Way and Granite Falls Middle School, that'll happen in the next couple of weeks. There's some next steps that we're working with building administration on those building specific reports, the things that need to be addressed immediately. And each principal, will develop that and, give us the timelines and those kind of things. It's not optional whether we correct the findings. It's here they are, please take care of them. And so we'll do that. A teaching and learning update. Sorry, I have 2 things going here. Emily, would you like to walk us through this?
Evening, lovely to see you. A couple of announcements for us, a couple of updates. So this school year, we are convening 4 secondary teams, 6th through 12th. We're going to continue to convene our ELA teams to talk about implementation of HMH. And then I'm bringing together our secondary math teams, our secondary science team, and our secondary social studies team so we can start doing some critical work around vertical alignment, making sure that we're aligned so that our students, so you, are receiving a cohesive and really connected learning experience in each of those core content areas. So that is currently happening. It's some of the most rewarding work because a high school senior AP calculus teacher can sit with a middle school algebra teacher and they can see the connections of how they're working together and what that impact is on students. Our best new teacher induction program is now up and running. This is truly important work. There's national data that says that teachers that are new to service, they will make a decision within the first 5 years of teaching, whether to remain as a teacher or whether to move into a different field of work, because it's such rewarding work, but it's also can be very challenging. So last year, we were part of a consortium of small districts across the region, and that was a little bit challenging because we had a lot of new to service teachers, and they wanted us to be out of the buildings to go do trainings, and that brings its own challenges. And so this year we made a decision to bring that back to Granite Falls to support our teachers here with some of the wise and sage teachers that are already here in our system, helping to coach alongside, providing some professional learning. And so that is off and running, and it is very encouraging. And we really want to create the support for our new to service teachers to help them learn the habits of mind and habits of heart to be able to stay in the profession. You learn those habits early, and it helps you, not burn out later on. So we're excited about that. In terms of school funding, last year, with respect to our school board, you heard me say, and Rachel as well, the word unearthing a lot. Still unearthing some things, but that frequency is much less. You also heard me use the term a steady decrease of surprises last year. Just so you know, we're working closely with Marshall and with Teaching and Learning that our spending plan is to spend forward, so that we're spending the funds that we have in a way that has real fiscal stewardship. And we're tracking every penny. And we haven't come up with any new surprises this year, so that's a celebration. Granite Falls School District has been awarded all of their grants in terms of teaching and learning, in terms of our categorical programs. And so that's great news. That's part of the work. We are completing our OSSI grants. Those are federal grants this year. There are no state-funded OSSI grants this year because of some funding challenges at the state level. So Crossroads High School and Granite Falls Open Doors will be submitting their OSSI grants by the end of the month. So those are on track and good to go. In terms of curriculum, an update on HMH. So thank you to the board for all of the work and all of the time and all of the attention to our ELA program for secondary. So we have, again, received all those materials, and as of today, our school administration have received their whole package of leader learning training, which is great. That allows them to go into the classrooms and see that curriculum and see what it's supposed to look like. And our teachers have received that first cluster of training, and as part of that package, they receive a one-on-one coach for the entire year from HMH. And that is someone who knows the curriculum in and out and very deeply and can answer questions, and they'll actually come out and visit. And so all of our teachers that are teaching either in HMH into Lit or in Read 180 or in E3D have access to their own coach, which I think is a really wonderful way of supporting our teachers. And one thing we know about curriculum adoption is if we don't continue to support teachers after year one, use of that adopted curriculum tends to decrease. So our commitment is to continue to help teachers and equip teachers to use that. And the last bit that I have for us today is just about done with our fall benchmark assessments. iReady is done. MAPS finished up yesterday. Our wellness screener finishes up on Friday. And a huge shout out to our middle school who engaged during their building directed time this afternoon in some data protocol work with their iReady data. So great shout out to Mr. Maynard and his board on that. So the rest of our buildings will be engaging in that all important work. And it's not just about looking at the data, it's about looking at our kids. It's about personalizing instruction and making instruction just that much more powerful. So any questions from the board? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, we'll go through some district and community events. Thank you, Director Kincaid, for talking about the event at Monte Cristo. We talked about that a little bit at our last board meeting. And if you have questions on that or you're a Monte Cristo family, please contact the front office. They'll give you all that information as well. So Railroad Days was amazing. The floats were awesome. The band was awesome. The cheerleaders were awesome. I know that there was many people behind the scenes who, and this is probably not an all-inclusive list, but thank you to advisors and administrators who were there and helped, again, make that day such an amazing success. Tiger Athletics, there's so much going on at Granite Falls High School and the middle school. Girls soccer, huge week. They're in that rebuilding, but this week was the Black and Blue Bowl for soccer and for volleyball. Just some shout outs to some kids that are doing some things and stepping up. New goalie there. They are home tomorrow night, as is volleyball. And so that'll be busy. And then Friday night, of course, is football. Cross country. There's a huge meet on Saturday if you want to come out and watch cross country. And watch parents run all over the place to try to catch up with their kid and get a few glimpses at them. I lived that life. And thank you to our cross-country coaches and Dave and Ryan who host this massive meet. It's a huge influx of people coming to our community too. So we should probably let the businesses downtown know. Because I think we did not last year and they were like, what is going on at the high school? And there's, hundreds and hundreds of people on site. Volleyball had an amazing week last week. They beat Kings for the first time in over 20 years. It was very exciting. It was a sweep. We also play Kings tomorrow night. So if you want to go watch the girls, they're super fun to watch. We were at the game last night and I'm a volleyball coach, so it's hard to just watch and just, remain super neutral, right? I'm like, it gets exciting. Football, again, we have a game this Friday night. It's home. It's early. 5:30, right, Dave? 5:30 start because students from Friday Harbor need to make sure they get on a ferry to get home. As much as we'd like to have them stay over, we really want them to play and go home. So football's doing great. They had lost a tough one last week. And if you were at that game, to Director Dave's point, there's hundreds and hundreds of people at the games, and it's been really fun. And then lastly, our boys golf team just keep getting better. And we have 2 athletes that have qualified for districts already, and one that is knocking right on that door and had a match today, and haven't looked at my phone in a bit, but I probably have an update from the coaches on that one. So it's really fun to watch so many student athletes out there doing their thing. And at halftime of the football games, you get to hear the marching band, and that's really fun too. You get to see our very own Thomas in the marching band. He's amazing. He plays many instruments. So come join us for that. Some other district and community events happening, October highlights. So it is Fire Safety Month, my friends, and we have a couple firefighters on the board, so we take this very seriously. Chief Dane was out at Monte Cristo today, leading it by himself for a while because lo and behold, firefighters get called out to calls. And so he was there and doing his thing, and then he finally got some support. But thank you for being there. They'll be at Mountain Way and the preschool, and it is such a cool event. Everybody can remember being in elementary school and having the firefighters come. We have such a lovely partnership with our EMS in Granite Falls. We're really grateful for that. Also in October, there's a district-wide recognition of the anti-bullying campaign. October 22nd is another Orange Shirt Day about unity and kindness and acceptance and inclusion. October 17th at Monte Cristo is an assembly around be a bully, don't be a bully, be a buddy, not a bully. Please don't be a bully. And then lastly, a quick shout out to our principals. It is National Principal Month, and we are so grateful for the leaders that work really hard every single day to meet the needs of, sometimes small cities, right? That it seems like, and all the comings and goings. So we have a couple in the room. So thank you for all that you do to serve our students in our community. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? No? Comprehensive, great. Okay, 3B business report prepared by Marshall Cruz.
So no real updates on the business report side of things. We're on track.
Right here.
Okay. We're on track to we're going to meet our 5% fund balance goal. Everything's pretty much done, but we have to just finalize everything, report it out to OSPI, get approval from OSPI for our year-end data. and then I can report it to the board. That would probably be maybe that first November board meeting. I'll report it out, but spoiler, 5% plus. The main thing I wanted, well, I guess you got to call the next item.
Yeah.
Are there any questions?
Yeah,
about that?
any comments on the business reports, questions? No, okay. Okay, so yeah, item 3C levy update presented by Marshall.
So we had a statewide meeting of all business people, superintendents, everything about changes in levy laws, about historical trends, about future trends that they see, about statistical anomalies, when to do it, when not to do it, all these things. It was a 2.5-hour meeting. I included the full deck in the board agenda, embedded in the board agenda. It's like 2 hours of presentation materials. I also included a trimmed deck that I knocked it down to about 40 slides that I'll try and breeze through, but it was hard to even cut out any of the slides because they're all really pertinent to what we're trying to do in the next 4 months as a district. So zip into it here. Covering the basics, 14% in the state, the average school district spends about 14.5%, gets about 14.5% of their revenue from their levies. We don't levy as much as we can levy. There's a levy lid of what we can do, and we go well below the levy lid because we're trying to be responsible with taxpayer dollars. Ours is about 11%, but the statewide average is 14.5%. Just a reminder that we have the EP&O levy, which used to be called the Maintenance and Operations Levy, but legislation changed. We have to call it EP&O now, Educational Programs and Operations Levy. That handles everything that the basic education funding model of Washington State doesn't cover, which I'll go in a future slide what that means to us. That's a 50% plus one to pass. There's some rules around how much you can ask for. We could ask for about $6.7 million. We asked for $5 million but it expires after this year, and we have to reapply with our voters to ask them to vote to renew it and continue it on. And it's based on a calendar year. All of our spending is a school year, but the levy dollars come in on a calendar year, so it's a little bit off cycle there. Capital projects, there's no dollar limit to that. You can do it for up to 6 years. Common things you do for that is technology, safety, school improvements, capital improvements, HVAC roofs, improvements, all that stuff we always talk about and even have done. We asked for $750,000 for the last 4 years. There's no cap to that. The $750,000 comes out to be about 10 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar for taxpayers. So what would we use our levy dollars for here in Granite? Well, the state funding model doesn't pay for all transportation, so we kick in a significant amount of our levy dollars pays for transportation. It pays for no sports, no extracurricular, no music, no band, no clubs, no field trips. Our levy money that we ask taxpayers to pay pays for all of that. It pays for a strong portion of our utilities, insurance, and all of our curriculum. It pays for a significant portion of our classified staffing. The state funding model kind of neglects classified staffing as something that's important to school districts. So every school district has to ask the taxpayers for money to help pay for classified staffing, which are secretaries, custodians, student supervisors, paraeducators, all those crucial staff members. It allows us to have smaller class sizes at crossroads. The funding model funds schools at the secondary level at about 28 students per class. If you're operating with less than 28 students per class, which is crucial in an ALE school, you have to have money coming from another source. That's the levy. If we want to pay a certificated staff member more than $89,000 per year to be competitive with our surrounding districts, that comes from the levy. If we want to have psychologists, librarians, student supervisors, paraeducators, that comes from the levy because the state funding model funds us for about 1/10 of a psychologist, and we have 4, as an example. It pays for special education costs that aren't funded by the state. It pays for the child nutrition costs that aren't funded by the state. It pays for technology for students and staffs, and it pays for some small capital projects that we can do. So it's crucial. Every district in the state, except for a small handful, have levies to help pay for their day-to-day operations, and without them, they would not operate. Talking about bonds really quick, because if you need to, levies aren't huge dollar amounts. The cost to make a new school is probably in the neighborhood of $40 or $50 million nowadays. You can never get that much money from a levy. So if you're gonna make a school or do a significant improvement, you've got to ask the community for a bond. A bond takes 60% plus one to pass. And there's some limits about how much you can ask for, but we have plenty of capacity. We have almost no bonds on the books right now. We paid off the high school last December. That was kind of our big taxpayer thing. That was $25 million 18 years ago. It would be $80 million today, probably.
Like 120 or 130, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to pass a bond? It's impossible to pass a bond in Washington. It takes 60% plus one to pass a bond, and the green states are the states where it takes 60% plus one. So I think that's 6 states. Most other states are a simple majority, or some are around 55%, but most are simple majority. So 60% plus one means you've got to get 60% of the people that turn out to vote plus one to agree on something. And we all know that in today's world, it's hard to get 60% of the people to agree that it's the month of October. So there's 4 election dates that we can run our levies in. February, April, August, November. For a lot of reasons, most school districts choose to run in February. We can only run it twice in a year, so it doesn't pass in February. It gives us multiple opportunities to run it again. There's statistics that on a future slide here that say that February is most likely to pass. And it's right when people are getting their tax bills in, so it kind of gives people a good vision of what's going on in the community. This is a breakdown of just by in the state of when levies tend to pass. So you can see that the EP&O has a tendency to pass at 95% rate in February, whereas if you were in August, which is lower month, it's only 70%. So February is statistically the best month to run it, and then it also gives you the chance to do it again later in the year for whatever reason you don't pass. I took out a slide, but in the big packet, there's a graph that shows the declining passing rates of levies in the state also. So it's kind of a trend statewide that levies are passing at a declining rate. The majority of them pass, but it's kind of a declining rate. Questions often asked is, well, if you ask for more money or less money, does that change the way people are inclined to vote? Well, they did a statistical study, and there is no correlation between what you ask for from your taxpayers and whether or not the levy passes. It seems to be the divide seems to be more in the lines of, we believe that the state should pay for education, but we believe that it's okay to have a bit of a local role in paying for education. And then we're not alone. This was a reminder I gave. There's 130 districts trying to renew their levies this year. That's a lot of districts, and the vast majority will go out in February. Hope they all pass, because it's crucial that they all pass, because districts can't operate without them. And we have lots of supports from the county, from the ESD, from OSPI, from our community partners. And there's 2 little more segments of this, so I promise it won't be too bad. Effective communications is key for bonds and levies. By the way, DA Davison hosts this, and you guys have met Corey Plager. He presented all this information. He put all this together and grabbed some communication partners to help him present it to the entire state last week. What can the district do? There's lots of rules about what role the district and staff members acting in a role of staff members can do with a levy or with an election or any kind of thing like that. On the district side, we can communicate truths. we can provide truthful information, factual information about the levy. We can say, hey, everybody should vote. Voting is good for you. We could say that our levy provides us with these things. We can say that we can have register to vote type stuff going on. But to really propaganda it and advertise that, hey, go vote yes, every district, every election has a citizens committee that's responsible for that. So as a school district, we're responsible for advertising the need for a citizens committee, and the citizens committee can form, and the citizens committee can drive the positive messaging around the levy. Oddly, we're also responsible for placing an ad to find a anti-levy group to write anti-messages in the voter pamphlet. And we have to, as a district, advertise in the paper to try and recruit people to write anti-messages in the voting pamphlet for our levy. But giving everybody a voice. So the yes committee can say, hey, yes, go vote yes on this. Hey, yes, our kids need this. Our kids are worth the vote yes. They can advocate on the behalf of the levy. They can send out pamphlets. They can send out mailers. They can do phone banks. They can do all the things. They can do text banks. They can do all those things that annoy everybody when election's happening, but are critical. But for a successful election, you need to have both parties doing their thing. The district has to be sending out positive messages, has to be sending out factual information about what the levy is used for, what the tax rates are, all these factual pieces that help the community members decide if their dollars should go in that direction. And then the yes committee can have more of the fluff around why it's important to vote yes. It's important that we tell the story of our district, not just during the levy campaigns, but all the time, so that a million good things happen a day in our district, and we could spend our whole day blasting out positives that happen. And we should be doing that as much as possible. We need to have a cohesive message. We need to be focused on student language. We need to talk about the basics, know what our communities care about. The district can put out factual information on our website. We can send factual mailers to families. We can have newsletters, email, social media, all of these things, but it has to be factual and not trying to sway people's opinions. And tone is critical, because they're the people that monitor these things. They are really trying to police that a little more and make sure that the tone of what we're putting out, what the district is putting out, is very neutral and factual. Key audience, we need to make sure our school leaders, our educators, our staff know our message. We need to make sure our families are our biggest supporters. We got to find ways to reach them, and know that we have a school community of 2,300 kids and their parents and relatives. But our overall community is, 15,000 people or 15,000 voters. They all play a role. So some stuff that the S committee can do. The S committee is made up of community volunteers funded via donations. They can advocate and use campaign resources like we talked about. They can say vote yes. They can knock on people's doors. They can put flyers on people's doors. They can do all those things. They are the advocate for the levy. The committee should be comprised of a representative group of volunteers in the community. We should have it should be a wide swath of people in our community. District employees can serve, board members can serve on their own time without using any public resources. Can't use work emails, can't use printers, can't use copiers, can't use funds, can't use postage. All has to be through private donations. The volunteers will end up write a pro statement in the campaign brochure. They can do website stuff, they can do social media handouts, doorbelling, media. Last little section is about the political climate today. Lead with students, not systems. Bring the message around students. people may disagree on politics, but rarely on wanting safe schools and strong futures for kids. Acknowledge the concerns and then pivot. You know, everybody has opinions about where their tax dollars should go. Respect the opinions and help reframe the need, and especially part of what the importance of the YES committee is messaging that the tax rates don't change. This is a renewal, it's not a new tax. All those things are things the YES committee can do. But the school district can provide the factual information about what the tax rates are, what the historical tax rates are, if they've been going up or declining, what the districts around us, what their tax rates are, how we compare to the districts around us. All those things the school district can send out. Focus on shared community values. This is probably the most important aspect of Granite Falls as a community. Our schools are the hub of this community. It is the sports fields for all our sports teams. It's what we have communities, groups meeting in our facilities. It really is the hub. It is the focal point of the town, and we need to recognize that and play into that. And then again, don't just tell the good stories on election year. We should be pounding out those good stories year round, because there are tremendously good stories happening here. I see them, a million of them a day. As a district, got to keep language neutral and grounded in facts. Use plain, factual, consistent language, avoid jargon. Levies bridge the gap between what the state funds and what our school needs. That's fine. Bond funding is used to repair, renovate, build schools to make sure. That's fine. And just keep the tax rates posted on our website. Be proactive about misinformation. Expect pushback. Correct misinformation calmly with facts and sources. Respond only once. And remember your legal boundaries. And inform the YES committee of the legal boundaries. Elevate trusted messengers. We all know people in this community that have a voice, and we need to lean on the voices of our community to help spread the messages. Keep it local and specific. You know, there is statewide politics, there's nationwide politics, but you know, we're a small, tightly knit community that is very close. So focus on the local. And then some changes to the rules around what campaigns can do. District staff can prepare and share information that is factual. It's okay to say levies help buy textbooks and learning material. It's not okay to say vote yes on the district levy so we can purchase new textbooks. It's okay to host community meetings to share information and facts and remind the community about the importance of voting. District staff can say, don't forget to turn in your ballots. They can say everybody should vote, but they can't say, don't forget to vote yes for the district. That's for the YES committee. Inform staff during non-work hours of opportunities to participate. When if you're out in the schools talking to staff about the levy, it's got to be on non-school time. Yeah, it could be on a break or a lunch or after school, or meet them at the buzzy and whatever, but not on school grounds during school time. If we have a policy that doesn't restrict wearing campaign buttons, staff more campaign buttons, but it has to be consistent with how we treat other campaigns like a presidency or a governor. District staff cannot use district funds for anything. Use district school messenger, use a district email bank, use any of that stuff. They can't act in their staff capacity or within their school or district to endorse an issue or a candidate. The principal can't say, hey, go vote yes, please. You can't say everybody should vote though. So school board may vote. You guys may vote to collectively support or oppose a ballot measure at a public meeting. So we have a public meeting. There could be something on the agenda that says, hey, we want to do a resolution to support the ballot measure. You guys can vote and say we 5-0, 4-2, 4-1, whatever, favor the vote to support this. But you cannot pressure or coerce superintendent or staff participate in campaign activities. I mean, a bunch of other things you can't do. Have to follow reporting deadlines. This is one of the big changes. Yard signs need to say paid for by the committee name, so the YES committee for Granite Falls students, and it has to have a committee address. And then mailers and other printed material and the website need to say for paid by, all those things. And we have to list our top 5 donors to the YES campaign has to list the top 5 donors to the campaign. Anonymous donations should not make up a large percentage of what is being used to fund the YES campaign. It's really important to be neutral as the district communicators. I can't emphasize enough. That was emphasized very strongly that the PDC is really focusing on non-neutral language in school district messaging to parents, community members, on not just on levies, but on all political issues. And then kind of some data around the changing perception of public schools, mixed satisfaction with demographic differences, positive perception of facilities and safety, gaps around recognition of career and technical instruction, and concerns around physical responsibility. This is statewide. Everybody's concerned about where their tax dollars going. They want to make sure that school districts are being physically responsible. Priorities to voters are CT education facilities and resources, mental health support, safety and security, improved or larger facilities, and ensuring all students receive opportunities. And that's it. Not bad, 20 minutes. Sorry for the speed round.
Yeah,
it's all in the packet. Anybody who's watching it on YouTube, it's all on the agenda to be downloaded and looked at. The original presentation is like 160 slides, but they're well-written slides that are easy to interpret the meaning of them and what was said during the meeting.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion?
What's the time frame for when the board would decide?
I think that we were thinking about having a study session next week to give us some additional guidance, and then perhaps having that study session, perhaps having a resolution ready for the final board meeting in October. Then we would have to do an application to OSPI telling them what we're going to be using the money for and get that approved by OSPI. And then there's getting the campaign material or the ballot material submitted, advertising for the yes and the no campaigns, all those logistical things.
But what's the board meeting where the board would vote whether to run the levy or not?
That would be probably the October meeting, next October meeting.
Okay.
I think that timing makes the most sense. I think we can have everything ready by then.
Okay.
So our next public.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions or anything? Really appreciate it, Marshall. And especially as we have the student rep advisors here, I think it's very important. Like there were 3 things to point out is that pie chart it's very important to recognize that that's statewide. The idea that was it 18 or 20 when McCleary 2018 when McCleary passed, the idea that covers everything. I then call back to where the EP&O, basically our operations, you can think of it as, right, without it is the best way to describe it. Without it, we have extreme difficulty or the inability to pay for transportation, sports, extracurricular. I don't know if we could technically have the inability to pay for utilities, but that money has to come from somewhere. And those costs have also inflated by 165% over the past 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. Psychologists, child nutrition, like all this stuff comes from that. There's plenty of jobs here that I see that come from that.
We have over 200 classified staff members that work here, and 30 of them are funded by the state.
Yeah. And so that's to say that the EP&O levy, the operational levy, in order for our schools to operate even as they do right now, the EP&O levy is a minimum. like the bare minimum to have the school still operating the way they do, because that's that 15% portion of the pie chart. If we remove that, you can assume that things would not be good. And then the capital levy, that is much more along the lines of, and I like to give this for context because not everybody's at every board meeting. But so like our schools are all going through, we have certain requirements that we have to meet from an energy perspective. And I'm sure anybody at the high school knows that when you hit summertime or at the beginning of the school year, the second floor, you can cook a fried egg in some areas of that building. So there's, and also even the elementary schools, you know, doors are left propped open. We have to run those systems all the time because of the pipes that were installed in there years and years and years ago. They have to basically continue to have pressure in them. If we turn them off, they leak. And so that's something where the capital projects levy would address. And then Marshall also went through, you know, that we are the hub of the community. So sports fields, all that stuff, those are also things that we could address. So like that field in between, the tennis courts and the baseball and softball field, like if we could find a solution to either turf that or something that provides a much larger area for more community events, more, you know, Little League football and soccer and all those sorts of things. So these are very important initiatives. And I go back to like the HVAC systems and the energy. It's not just, hey, it'd be nice to have cooler buildings during the summer and warmer buildings during the winter. If we do not comply by a certain date, like for instance, the high school, I know when we were going through those numbers, every single year that we are out of compliance costs us like $150,000 or $200,000 in fines. And so we're basically not getting the benefit of cooling our children and everything. And now we're having to pay on top of it. It's insult to injury. So I just would like to reiterate all of that information here today so that, and I know we'll probably repeat it here and there and stuff, but it is very important. EP&O keeps us at least at the status quo, and then capital levies will help us not get fines in the future and then produce better environments for our kids. So,
and I kind of breezed through. Bonds are for building. You pass a bond to build a school. The levies are for learning, and your EP&O levy is for just keeping the doors open, basically. Your capital project levy is for buying. We use ours to buy technology like the Chromebooks, the monitors that are in the classrooms, teachers' computers, our internet access, those kind of things, and some small repairs. But just all of that technology costs, you know, $400,000, $500,000 a year. So, and that's, you know, 2/3 of our levy. So,
yeah. Well, anything else? Great. All right. Thank you, Marshall. Okay. Item 4A, items from the floor. Do you have anything? No? Okay. New business, item 5. We don't have any new business. And then item 6, consent agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda or consent agenda? No? Okay. Any discussion for the consent agenda? No? Okay. Then consent agenda passes with unanimous consent. And the time is 6:58, and that closes out Grand Falls School Board meeting. Thank you.